Hello again, NCAC sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of This Week in the NCAC. I'm your host, Brett Billhart. On this week's show, we'll celebrate those student athletes who were named NCAC Athletes of the Week in their respective sports for the week ending on Sunday, September the 15th. We'll open this week's show on the links and celebrate the achievements of Allegheny's Miranda Santucci, who was named the NCAC Women's Golfer of the Week. The sophomore from Carnegie, Pennsylvania, earned champion medalist honors at the Ohio Wesleyan Fall Invitational at the Safari Golf Club in Powell, Ohio, after she carded a 148, which included rounds of 75 and 73. In the final team standings at the OWU Fall Invitational, Allegheny topped the 9-team field with 635 strokes, while Ohio Wesleyan was second with 667, Denison was third with 671, Worcester was fourth with 672, and Hiram was eighth with 745 strokes. Women's golf teams return to the course next weekend, highlighted by Worcester hosting its annual Fall Invitational at the Worcester Country Club. NCAC men's golf teams did see action last weekend at 3 different tournaments. However, all of the events spanned into this week. The final results from all 3 tournaments will be factored into consideration for next week's NCAC Men's Golfer of the Week award selection. Let's now head inside to the courts where NCAC volleyball teams concluded their final full week of non-conference play. Wittenberg Junior setter Megan Vodopich garnered the NCAC Player of the Week award after she led the 10th-ranked Tigers to a 2-1 record at the annual Wittenberg Fall Classic. The Canton, Ohio native dished out 85 assists on the weekend, including a 35-assist performance in the Tigers' 3-1 upset victory over 8th-ranked Otterbein. She also added 36 digs, 15 kills, 4 service aces, and 3 blocks in 10 total sets on the weekend. The league portion of the North Coast volleyball schedule opens this week, with Wittenberg hosting Oberlin on Friday night, followed by 4 more league tilts on Saturday. NCAC field hockey is off and running as each league team has at least 2 games under their belts. DePaul and Wittenberg currently sit on top of the standings with identical 2-0 records, while Denison sits in third at 2-1. DePaul junior forward Paige Henry was named the NCAC Field Hockey Player of the Week award winner after she scored the lone goal in DPU's 1-0 victory over Kenyon on Saturday, and then tallied the Tigers' first goal in the 2-0 win over Denison on Sunday. After starting the season 2-0 in league play, the DPU Tigers have now won 16 straight regular season NCAC contests. There are 7 NCAC field hockey matchups on the slate this week, led by Wittenberg hosting Denison on Wednesday afternoon in Springfield. We'll now head over to the pitch and recognize our weekly award winners for both men's and women's soccer. The women's award went to Wittenberg senior forward Kayla Murphy after she led the Tigers to a pair of dramatic wins last week. Murphy, who hails from Dayton, Ohio, broke a 1-1 tie against Ohio Northern on Wednesday by netting the game winner with just 13 minutes left, and then returned to score the game's only goal on Sunday against Case in the 2nd minute of the first overtime session. The weekly award on the men's side went to Denison freshman forward Quinn Miller, who netted both goals in the Big Reds' 2-0 victory over Otterbein on Saturday, and then assisted on DU's first goal in a 4-1 rout of Mount Union on Sunday. Although the NCAC soccer schedule will again be dominated by non-conference matches this week, the first league matches of the season will be contested on Saturday, as Hiram travels to DePaul for a men's and women's doubleheader. The NCAC cross-country circuit was active last weekend, with Allegheny hosting a grouping of NCAC squads for the Allegheny Invitational. The event was hosted on the same course as the 2013 NCAC Cross-Country Championships, which are set to be contested in Meadville on Saturday, November the 2nd. The weekly award for men's runners went to Denison freshman Jake Denny, who led the Big Red to a 3rd-place finish at the Rochester Invitational in New York after finishing 7th out of 163 runners with a time of 26:27:3 on the 8K course. In women's competition, DePaul senior Siri Retrum garnered the weekly award after she had a record-setting day to help lead the Tigers to a fifth-place showing at the Calvin Knight Invitational in Michigan. Retrum, who resides in Columbus, Indiana, topped her personal best time by 41 seconds as she traversed the 5K course in 18 minutes, 25 seconds. There is minimal cross-country action next weekend. However, DePaul and Wabash will take to the course at the annual Indiana Intercollegiates held in Bloomington, Indiana on Saturday. And finally, we'll close out this week's show by heading over to the gridiron and recognizing the weekly NCAC Offensive and Defensive Player of the Week selections. The offensive award went to Oberlin quarterback Lucas Pajali, who led the Yeomen to a historic 19-2 home victory over Case on Sunday. The Sandusky, Ohio native opened the scoring with a 9-yard touchdown pass to senior Adam Nyack with 1:35 left in the first quarter, and then sealed the victory over Case with an 8-yard touchdown scamper early in the fourth quarter. The sophomore quarterback finished the game by completing 11 of 17 pass attempts for 100 yards to go along with 12 rushes for 78 yards and an additional score. The Yeomen's victory snapped a 28-game winless streak against the Case University Spartans. The weekly award for defense went to Denison senior defensive lineman Winters Heafy, who all but sealed the Big Red's 17-12 league victory over Hiram with a pair of clutch plays in the final minutes. With Hiram at the 50-yard line and trailing by 5 with less than 2 minutes to play, Heafy tackled Hiram's running back for a 4-yard loss on second down and then clinched the victory with a sack of Hiram's quarterback on fourth down. Heafy finished the game with 5 total tackles, including 2 sacks and 3.5 tackles for loss. NCAC football action commences in full force this weekend, as we will now see a full slate of conference games each weekend for the remainder of the year. And fans, as always, for up-to-date news, stats, and standings from around the North Coast Athletic Conference, you can log on to our website at www.northcoast.org. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter at NCAC, as well as like us on Facebook. And additionally, NCAC Assistant Executive Director Russell Kramer will again be conducting interviews with our weekly award winners throughout the 2013-14 season. The interviews will be available on the NCAC website at the end of each week. And finally, for the entire conference staff, I'm Brett Billhart, and thanks for watching.